everyone. I am Meenalochini from SapienKid. Today's topic is homeschooling, a trend or a passing phase. We are SapienKid. We are a parent research organization and we are aiming to nurture kids for a better tomorrow. So how do we aim to do that? We are creating content for parenting so that parents can raise their children smoothly. While we were doing our R&D, we realized that modern parents are quite keen and they are very clear about what they want for their children. This is actually a good thing. So they are aware that there are certain areas that they would want their children to know. They would want a few values in their children. And they also are keen on ensuring that their children get the perfect wisdom. So this is where the concept of homeschooling comes to play. Now, today we have come to this juncture where we have plenty of, parents opting for homeschooling. So this homeschooling was not actually a very old trend or anything. It has been there, but not many people were till date quite open to using that. But today things are changing for better. And that is why we are planning to debunk the myths surrounding homeschooling today in this session by interacting with these actual people who practice what they preach. So I would like to welcome to this webinar our three prestigious panelists. Today we have Mrs. Neetu Singh Desai, Mrs. Aarti Sachdev, and Mrs. Shama Bheda. Mrs. Shama Bheda is a parenting coach with plenty of years of experience in teaching, in concepts, everything. And she has a lot of ideas that we would like to listen to. Mrs. Aarti Sachdev is a career counselor and a soft skills trainer. She has also got plenty of years of experience in this field. And Mrs. Neetu Singh Desai is an educator herself, and she has raised her children in this homeschooling format only. So I believe there cannot be better set of people to ask all our questions today and get to know plenty about homeschooling. So thank you all three of you for coming here to this session and honoring us and being a part of this session and enlightening us. So thank you all. Right. So we shall begin the session by firstly asking the question to Mrs. Neetu Singh Desai. Ma'am, homeschooling, unschooling, and many such concepts have been spoken about in recent times. Please shed some light on these concepts.
Sure. Thank you so much, Meena, for that question. And I welcome all the parents, and I actually thank them for actually carving out time to listen to people who have walked the path. So a little before I start, I am actually homeschooling my son, who is going to be 13 in a couple of days, actually. So, I follow the Waldorf curriculum. So I'm trained from the past almost a decade. I have been training in Waldorf. But again, today here, I don't want to lace homeschooling with Waldorf homeschooling. I wouldn't do that. I want to talk about homeschooling as a general concept. See, homeschooling is a lot of things, but what it is not, I really want to clear it out. It's in no way bringing school home. So all the parents who are here, please make this very clear. If that is what you're thinking you're going to do, then that is absolutely wrong, because then the whole purpose of homeschooling is defeated. Might as well send your children there to school where they can interact with other children. And unschoolers, honestly, they say that if I don't have a goal, then I cannot really say where I have reached. I need to see a goal in my life to be able to reach the goal. So if I don't have a goal, then I'm not reaching anywhere. So with unschooling, I still feel that some kind of goal, not structured, but something has to be put down. Alternative schooling, we cannot live in isolation. So if we are sending our children to an alternative school, eventually they have to live in the world. and we need to know the ways of the world. So what should homeschooling be like? So homeschooling, the way it is for me, will be very different. And for you, it should be according to what you wish as a learning objective for your child. So there are 3 questions which will help you. What does the child need? What can I give the child? What do I get out of this process of homeschooling? These 3 questions, if each parent can answer, you will have some way forward. So don't buy textbooks, bring them home and start doing school. That's not what homeschooling is. I think, Meena, I should stop here because, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Your answer was very crisp and to the point definitions. Yes, so these are the real definitions that we all are waking up to. Connecting, moving on from that question, but not really moving away. I have a question for Dr. Mrs. Aarti Sachdev. What do the parents understand by this term of homeschooling? If you could also add some points on this. Ma'am, Aarti ma'am?
Yes, sorry. I was unmuting myself.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me for this session, Meena, and all the parents also for your questions. Yes, I agree with Neetu Desai that parents need to know about their objectives from learning homeschooling and how it is different. It is unlike this proper regular school. Yes, we should not have a exact structure as school, as you very correctly said, Neetu. But at the same time, parents, you have to understand, unless and until you're not disciplined in keeping the timing constant, it becomes very difficult for a child, because a child is a plain sheet of paper. What you write gets written, and that's how they are formed. And hence, what is it that you want? And very correctly, she pointed out, what I want, that is the parent wants, what the child is required to be given by the parent, are two major things that have to be understood by every parent who tries to take up this homeschooling. And mind you, it is not a very easy thing. Homeschooling needs total attention from a parent to the child. And at the same time, they have to be very, very consciously aware that peers are not there to mold your child, but peer pressures are required for a holistic development of a child. Hence, after homeschooling, they have to interact live on the field when they go in the evening to play with children. They have to be guided by the parent, because they have not interacted the whole day with anyone other than their own parent, that they need to go and interact in a certain fashion. When they come back with questions, I was beaten up by someone, or I was yelled by someone, or someone did this and I didn't like it. So this is the duty of a parent, to guide the child to overcome these things and sit and talk with the parent. If a parent does not have this time with them, then it is not the right way to groom a child. And I hope Neetu and Shama will agree with me. These are the things, yes, thank you. So these are the things that every parent who is consciously making this decision of taking up homeschooling have to think, I would definitely say. And please be aware, it has to be a very conscious decision. At the same time, remember, it is a full-time job. There's nothing called right or wrong in schooling a child or grooming a child. Every child is different, every parent is different, and hence it has to differ. And that is how, whether Waldorf method or your own method or some other method you're following, please be aware that everything, even a school going child, needs a different handling, individual handling, and be aware of that and then take a decision. Thank you.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, another question to you only again.
Yes.
As a counselor, how do you feel this homeschooling affects the child's overall development regarding the, with regards the EQ, the IQ, and the SQ?
Yes. As I said, it is an individual effort in grooming a child, which has to be taken relatively. Not saying that homeschooling is not good, the social etiquettes will not be developed, or the peer pressure handling is not adequately handled. It is a very conscious decision by a parent, and hence IQ keeps changing according to the age of a child. EQ is definitely changing every time a child grows from one stage to another. Like the age group changes, the child develops emotional, like inputs are given, and that's how the child develops. But one has to be very, very conscious to be aware that if you need a holistic development, I have also groomed my children in homeschooling, but after a certain years of age, and that was out of comfort. So understand this. What is your need for homeschooling has to be very, very categorically placed. As Neetu also said, that your learning objective has to be very clear. So hence, your decision of taking up will decide whether the IQ develops properly, whether the emotional quotient develops properly, and social etiquettes. Yes, it makes a lot of difference when the child starts feeling very isolated when he goes in a group to play. That I don't have any person whom I can relate to, because there are a couple of children who are coming from one school and they are playing and they have the bond before only. I do not have. So, how to create that bond? The child necessarily needs to be guided by the parent before sending him out to the friends whom he has never met, or the people whom he has never met, and he has to, or she has to interact with. So, these things are conscious decision by a parent to guide the child before it interacts with anyone. Otherwise, it can turn out to be that he will be scarred for life by saying, "No, I cannot gel with them." They cannot. They will say, "Which school do you go to?" "I don't go to any school." So now these are questions which child from a very young age, Neetu must have gone through this and held, these things, a discussion with their child, how to go about it. My children now, coming to the point where decision making is there, I have to make this decision because my children are, both my daughters are now 20, 18 and 20, and they have been out of school from 8th and 10th, and they have been studying on their own. The only question here is, my requirement was so because they had to play tournaments. They are ITA tennis players, and they had to rise to a certain level, and hence they had to take their tournaments. They had to attend the tournaments, and they could not attend the school. And these are the questions that you have to ask. What is important? How do I go about it? A lot of parents will say, no, education is must, sports comes later, and hence there's nothing wrong in doing that and taking priority for your studies. But at the same time, how the child develops out of school is your responsibility in totality. And this is why I would say IQ, EQ, as well as SQ, all three are very important in a holistic development of the child. But at the same time, this decision of the parent how to handle it. They have to be aware of it.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So moving on to Kshama, ma'am, how would you say a homeschool child will be when it comes to being at par with a regular school going child? When it comes to parenting techniques and needs also?
Yes, first of all, hello everyone, and thank you, Meena, for this wonderful question you've asked. This is what is my domain of work, that is parenting. So specifically, I will point out all the parents that parenting is not an easy work or an easy job, what we are doing. And these days, like, we are really neglecting. I will use this harsh word, we are neglecting on parenting. So if you are thinking, like, if you want to think about, like, homeschooling child, or you are talking about, like, the child who is going to school, but parents here need to understand the prospect of why they want, like, the homeschooling. As Neetu ma'am also took a very specific questions, like, he, what are the parents, like, why do they need, like, what are their need, like, they want to put their child into a specific, like, homeschooling. Then here, I mean, Aarti ma'am told something like, she switched her children after the grade 8 and 9. Why? Because she knew what is specific and where are the child focused on. So here, what parents should need to understand, the potential of the child, the what the intelligence of the child, and then you think about. First of all, I will say, for the small children, if we talk about, the toddlers, do parents have that part of energy what a toddler has? This is my first question to all the parents. Do you have that level of energy what your little one has? You don't have that that point of energy what your toddler has. It has to get explored. The child needs to get explored in society. It has to get explored with the other friends, with other teachers, with maushis, with all the different aspects. At least if you want to think for homeschooling, I specifically say and suggest, because I have come across few parents, few of my family members who switched their children to homeschooling at least after 5th, 6th, 7th standard. Till that age, at least give them the exposure of school. Let them understand, yeah, if you know what is actual potential of your child, if you know what is the intelligence of your child, where your child is best into, if you know all those certain areas, then it is okay. But apart from that, you even need to know that every child need their own time. They all have their own emotions. See, every time here you have only a parent, a one parent or two parent with the child every now and then. 24 hours, wahi do bande dikhenge un bachon ko. So it should not be that. At least they need to get that kind of a exposure. See, child need to have that academy, what the activities they are doing, activity, emotion management, time emotional management, then the thought emotional, physical emotional. So this all things are really very important for the child. So need to understand what are the potentials of your child, how the child is, where is your child intelligent into, and then if you work on the specific thing, then I always say, and that is also it's not that easy for all the parents. Please mark this word. It's not easy for all the parents to go for a homeschooling since your child is a toddler. At least understand your child and then take a decision. ये decision आपका है और आप बच्चों के ऊपर डाल रहे हो. It is that way. You want your child to have a homeschooling. That is the reason you are doing homeschooling. We not asking the children. Here, as Aarti ma'am said, that yes, वो बच्चे बड़े हो गए थे, but still she had taken a decision because the betterment of the child were more interested into sports. So here even I say, if chalo, my child was not in a homeschooling, but yes, 9th and 10th, as it was a pandemic. So my child was, as it is, doing homeschooling. Every child in the world were doing homeschooling. So that was an area where he explored his karate also. He explores his other ways also, his education also. So this is what I want to say. It's not an easy task. Yes, but parents who have got potentials, the parents who are determined, we want to, and you know what are the best things and best exposure for your child, you can go ahead. Thank you so much.
Great. That was actually, elaborating on whatever we had in mind. We had this question, but you answered it perfectly. Thank you so much. Thank you again. And now we move on to Neetu ma'am with a very, hands-on experience that you have. So from in COVID times, most of the parents had opted for homeschooling. As Shama ma'am just said, there was no other choice. The entire world was homeschooling. So you are also homeschooling a child. So what are the challenges that you face and how you deal with them now?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that question. I get asked that question many times, but now I think I always believe in, you fake it till you make it. I faked it long, now I've made it. So, see, there are some challenges, and but still, I would say there is not even a single day where I look back and say the decision of homeschooling my child, I regret. I don't. Not even a single day. Because it's not the way my child is growing or academically he's very good or something. How much I have learned in this journey, I would have not learned if he would have gone to school. Because to teach him, I had to become a teacher, and it changed my life. People who know me know me for a lot of reasons. But so I'm like a fire, I had to tame myself. I had to learn a lot of um, ways to channelize my energy. And that is exactly what happens when you're homeschooling. The biggest challenge is you're your own boss. You are not accountable to anyone. So nobody, you're not answerable, no assessments. You're only grading your child and you're only teaching your child. So the first thing I did is, instead of telling my child that your algebraic expressions you're not good at, I used to tell myself, you're not teaching algebraic expressions well to him. That's why he's not performing. Because you have to understand, in a homeschooling scenario, there is nobody to blame. You have to take responsibility. So I stopped blaming the environment, that is the people in the environment, and also the curriculum or the time or my energy. I stopped all that. I started looking at ways to make myself more available for him. I would never want to educate a child when I am not available. If I'm thinking, what is the next meal? Which is my next training? Or where are we going for dinner tonight? That's not how I can educate my child. I have to drop all that. And when I'm sitting with my child, it's just me and my child. So my main lessons used to take for hours. I mean, 4 or 5 hours when I started as a homeschooling mother. And I used to actually feel I had opened a school at home, I mean, I didn't have time for myself. And eventually I cut it down and I said, no, I need to set a time. And that's when we decided 2 hours in a day and not beyond that. So we study only 2 hours, even now in grade 7, 2 hours, handle all our subjects. Also the self-doubt. After doing all this, the self-doubt is there. Am I doing enough? And nobody can come and answer that question other than you. Because if you're going to look for the answer outside, I can't guarantee you what the answer is going to be and whether it's going to motivate you. Okay. So you have to take care of the self-doubt thing. Also in homeschooling, a lot of people asked me, I mean, till a year back, if you would have asked me that, socializing is an issue. And I never thought it was an issue, because my son, I mean, I've been homeschooling him from ever, I think. So my child has more friends than children who go to school. And I just realized that because I have moved around India, a lot of cities, and everywhere he lives, he has a WhatsApp group. So the parents are like, where is Siddharth? Where is it? So I am a part of more WhatsApp groups for him rather than myself. So yes, it is not. But when we moved here to Himachal, which is, I live in a small village here. Here, socializing is different. The definition of socializing has changed, because here we don't have English speaking children. We don't have regular schools. We don't have adults who are like, the city adults, they have very different kind of conversations, very different kind of attires. Their days look very different. So we had to change the definition. So now it's more like volunteering than socializing. So we go for all the community programs that happen over here. We get invited to each function that happens here. So we are always there, and Siddharth is always either helping or watching, and we are helping. So we basically are teaching him through imitation also, but also role modeling. That we may be from Mumbai, but I wear a salwar kameez here. I don't wear the clothes that I wear in Mumbai. Yeah. So that is something which you have to teach your child, as well as learn yourself, adaptability. Also, see, a lot of parents say the physical education or the team sport, that is something which suffers. So now for that, you have to get creative. In Mumbai, we never fell short of any ideas. But here, yes, we do fall short of ideas. So we have figured out ways where we can let him play with the high school children that are here. So they play badminton with him. Then he plays cricket with them. Then he plays football. He goes trekking. There are mountains here. So now the play is very different. And yes, it has to be organized when you're living off grid. Otherwise, in the city, I don't think there is any problem. There are a lot of sports arenas which let your children participate. There are a lot of schools who are opening up to this whole concept of homeschooling children can come for the physical education bit. So you have to talk, you have to get out there and ask for help. Sitting at home, nobody is going to come. And also, you have to understand that homeschooling does not follow a hierarchy, like especially when it comes to middle school and high school. Everything that I want to teach my child is not what my child wants to learn. So eventually it has to become a collaborative effort. So now, like my son is a lot into cars and automobiles, and so we actually have given him that freedom that you can develop something on those lines and you come back to us. So we are giving him the impulse, the input, and then we are expecting outcomes also, not like earlier. So your milestones change. When your child is in the primary grades, the milestones are very different, and also what you expect out of them is very different. But now, when my child is in middle school, the expectations are totally different. I cannot let him get away. There are consequences. And in high school, there are clear consequences because every cause has an effect. So you as a parent have to, lay down boundaries. If you don't have boundaries, like, if my high school child does not come back home at 10, I ground him. He never goes out for like a month. Because if I don't teach him boundary, he will never learn boundaries. So yes, these are a couple of points which I think are challenges, but again, get creative. And there is no course that will answer all these questions. And there is nobody else other than you who can answer these questions for you, because your needs are your needs and your challenges are your challenges. So I think some idea.
Oh, that's so insightful, ma'am. Thank you so much. Because I'm sure all of the parents would have such kind of questions in mind. And as I just, as you were saying, I recall what I started the session with, like you practice what you preach. So, like you are actually leading that life where you are raising a child, and through the format of homeschooling. So nobody knows the challenges better than you right now. And the same goes with Aarti ma'am also. She's also raising a child, raising two daughters in this homeschooling format. So the next question would be again continuation of your thoughts. It would be like your kids are growing now. So Aarti ma'am, what plans, like what is your take when it comes to higher education through homeschooling? And what are the areas, the avenues, like schools and all and boards, what plans you have for the future?
Sorry. Thank you for the question, and thanks, Kshama, for reminding me of the channel. Right. Neetu, your guidance in homeschooling is amazing, and this is what I have seen with my own cousin sister who is doing the same with a child. Yes, just a reminder, and what Neetu ma'am has told parents, please be aware. Parents cannot be biased while teaching. Yes, absolutely. And now what bias means, she's explained very well. You do not have a measure like other schooling parents, like children going to school, they have a set demarcated standards that you have to reach this much or this level or that level. We do not have, as we have selected, okay, I don't want to be homeschool, I don't want to be schooling the child in a conventional manner. So that bias, do not think. And yes, as you said, you keep self-doubting. That has to be worked upon consciously. It's a huge responsibility for a parent. Unlike me, when I started my children in the school, it was, oh, everyone is doing this, I have to do this. I have to put my child into a school. It was a absolutely, monitored effort for ages. It has been happening. I'm doing the same. But when you homeschool a child, it has to be a conscious decision. And before you take that conscious decision, every parent has to give it a proper thought, as in what all it takes. Find out, research what it takes to be a homeschooled child, what it takes from a parent, what needs to be given to the child, and what all are the future expectations from your child by you, and as he grows up and he comes to a decision that I need to do this in the future. This conscious decision leads me to the question which Meena ma'am has asked. What are the boards? What is it that I'm doing after my child has come to a stage where they are now 18 and 20? They have to have some sort of a career. Now, unfortunately, because of COVID, their tennis career was stalled, and now they are of an age where the matches are not happening the way they need to. So I had to take a conscious decision along with my children that would you like to now start formal education, as you need to be a fit in the society. Here in the parents, please be aware that when it is your decision to take up homeschooling, you have to have this in mind. What is it that you want to do in future with his education? Do you want a particular board examination to be taken by your child, whether it has to be IB, whether it has to be CBSE? I'm talking in that terms. Whether you want them to take the examination or no, and if no, directly they want to appear for these competitive exams. Is it allowed? Is it not allowed? What is allowed in our country? All has to be found out. It has to be a conscious decision by the parent to find out and know what is it in the future that they are expecting from their child, or the child expects from himself or herself. So coming to the point, when after the 10th and 12th decision, that what should my elder daughter do? So as she was in sports, I asked her, although as a career counselor, I always advise all my students that please get up. It could be very harsh decision, or it could be a very, thought of against by the parents, because money is an aspect which every parent say, आपको पैसा कितना मिलता है ये भी देखो उस फील्ड में. It is a very practical and a correct rational decision. But yes, one has to agree that only money, if that is the criteria for earning, then your child will be frustrated for the rest of your life. I've seen n number of individuals, seniors, who have today taken certain subjects because they pay well, but they are not very happy in their careers. So I always advise parents and the student that take up such subjects wherein you earn also, but at the same time, day in, day out, when you have to do the same job, ask yourself every Monday morning when you get up to go to office, are you like, oh God, I have to go to office, I have to get up, I have to do this? No, not again. If these questions come to your mind, you have not chosen a correct field, or you have grown out of that field. So what is it that you have to, humans are never, the only constant is the change, and that has to be accepted in your life, that okay, I have to better myself, or I have to change. You are best, it need not be better, or it just needs a deviation. So be aware of that factor and make a change for yourself and be happy in what you're doing. So there comes which exam you have to take, which board you have to take, along with the freedom. There is a binding curriculum that you have to follow. Do you want to do that, or you don't want to do that? What is it that you require? You want to be educated? Yes, as Neetu said, her child was very interested in automobile. So he may go in for automobile studies, and he will develop a very good, sharp mind and development of that area. But is it going to, now the parent has to ask, I'm not saying Neetu ma'am, she has done her studies very well. I'm asking the parents who are thinking of homeschooling their children, please be aware that along with the curriculum that you're giving your child, or the method of knowledge gaining is you have decided for your child, you have to be aware, is the child developing some sort of a self thinking? I have to be with the school children that I want to take exam, and I want to appear for, suppose say UPSC exams, or maybe JEEE. There's nothing wrong, these are very pure subjects and conventional subjects. But is he going that way? We have to keep monitoring these things. Does he want to do something very independent? He wants to do something like, I want to set up a painting academy, or I want to just go in and be a painter. Be aware how he is developing, because you have given him such a huge world to explore. And that is one of the things that helps a child develop very, very nicely and happily. That is the main thing. I try to strive to give my child something, my both daughters. My primary thing is, will you be happy doing this? In the bargain, I do definitely sometimes put the earning thing in the back seat, but I have to keep consciously telling myself, no, no, they have to tomorrow, although they are girls, but they have one thing from me, that you have to be financially independent. And hence, am I grooming them to be financially independent? Just by homeschooling, are they not being groomed for earning a proper income for them? No, then I have to rethink. And with my daughters, I think. Now, for my second daughter, I'm trying to search for a field which is close to sports only. Like elder daughter is doing sports management. The younger one doesn't seem to like management, because she talks to her sister and she says, no, management is not what I strive for. She's more inclined towards nutrition, fitness, and she wants to go in for that. So now I'm trying to work out with her. Do you want to do management, nutrition? Now, this is what we have to keep understanding. But there is a big but. You are the parent. You are more experienced to understand the nature of your child. And it is changing nature. She is still a teenager and she may grow up to be something different. So, will that intrinsic nature support her decision making right now? So, very consciously, without any biases, as Neetu very correctly said, a parent has to be a third person, not a parent, but a third person to view it holistically and give a direction to the child, saying, think about this. Yes, this is my like and dislike, that I don't like doing management, or I don't like doing XYZ subject. But you have to understand, will she like it day in, day out when she has to take up something? Like she had interest in animals. So veterinary science also I was suggesting. Will she do it? I think so. Handling animals, very good, very nice. But what all it takes to study, will she be able to go through those studies or no, is very important for a parent to understand before the child understands it herself or himself, because they are very, very raw, or green behind the ears. They cannot take these decisions without your guidance. So be aware, parents, whenever you make this decision, you are constantly, very correctly put by our panelists, that it is a conscious decision by the parent to guide and be there all the time for the child, but not even overdo. So your challenge as being a parent, the challenges are more, the responsibilities are more. And if you have that energy, as Kshama had said, do you have the energy to match your child? Yes, as you're young, for the first few years, that is still 8th and 9th and 10th, you may say that, yes, I have the energy. But slowly, as you grow older, the responsibilities rise. Your responsibilities will rise more. So, are you aware of the challenge? Are you ready for that challenge? Is what you have to be aware of. I'm not trying to put you away from homeschooling. I'm trying to tell you, be aware of what your decisions are going to ask from you. As Neetu has taken up all these things and she knows what she is doing. And it is, I'm telling you, once you get into it, it is amazing. You find that I have given so much time to my child, that a working mother sometimes feels, I don't have enough time for my child. But that happiness, what Neetu is getting, I understand for past 4-5 years, I'm getting with my daughters. And although I was working part-time, this is my personal experience for parents who have been, both of the parents are working. Herein, I'll tell you, yes, you do feel, but do not over pamper your child if you are sending them to school and not homeschooling. So sometimes, out of guilt conscious, we give the child everything that they ask for. Stop doing that first. And for a homeschooler also, we have a lot of guilt issues. Please address them and understand these are not your problem areas. That don't make them your problem areas because you're homeschooling. So be aware of these things and then take the decision. Thank you.
Ma'am, continuing this
Yes.
topic, we have received a question from Mr. Vishwajit Patil here. Like he has asked, like, how do you conduct science practicals when you are doing homeschooling? So Please share your first-hand experience here.
Should I continue or
Yes,
need
ma'am.
to
Yes, ma'am.
okay. My take was like I had enrolled my daughters because they were taking some board examination. It is NIOS, that is National Institute of Open Schooling. I had put my daughters in that curriculum wherein a school is allotted for them as contact program, wherein these practicals are supposed to be held. If you want, you can go to that school and be there for the practical things. But yes, at home you do not have chemicals and you do not have a dissection table wherein you can show them if they are keenly interested in biology or maybe botany or chemistry. So these are the experiments where you have to use your own creativity as to how to show similar kind of experiments at home. Now I need to grow a fungus. It is very easy. As a biology student, I can grow fungus easily in the house and show them. That is, keep the bread outside and you can see the green fungus growing on it. You can show them a very small, go buy some hay and get some spawns for mushroom growing. Again, another form of fungi, which is edible fungi. So now these are the methods which you can take and handle botany. Botany, leaf. Now leaf also at home one can do. These are my creative thinkings that I have put into my, although my daughters were going to school, but I was doing these at home. And they have this intrinsic curious nature, children. Every child is a very curious child. So they will themselves ask, Mama, let me do this, because they have read something. In CBSE books, you will find small, small columns giving you some experiments. So let them do it. Give them those instruments, some old tin wherein they can do some mixtures and do it. Yes, you be aware of what they're doing. Be consciously be there if they don't do something wrong there. So see, let them do these things at home, which are equivalent to some proper in the book written experiments like chemistry or physics. Physics, again, you want to show them what is a resonance of a material. If you have glasses and you have crystal glasses, show them by a metal spoon, the tong experiment which we do. So every experiment till 12th standard, you don't have major experiments that cannot be replicated in some other form. But that is your creative how to go. But I think so today's parents are much luckier, I would say, because of the Google. You can Google search every time we sit at the table, we are doing some and we come across a question, what does this mean? Immediately Google, all three of us Google. But yes, very again a very major decision, how much mobile time. My daughters till 10th standard did not have a proper mobile. They had that small mobile just to communicate, I am here, I'm coming back home, these were the only things. But it makes a lot of difference. I did not need to teach them how to use a mobile. They are from this generation. They could have used it from someone else, some friend's mobile they must have used. So don't be afraid that the technology aspect, if you don't give them, they'll not learn. It's very easy for them to, come to par with the others peers. So parents, don't be aware and please limit the whole screen time. This is what in my counseling of kindergarten school parents also I always tell, please do not give more than 1 to 1.5 of half an hour of screen time. You have to wean them away. After COVID, I know a lot of parents are getting this complaint that my child does not leave mobile, laptop or TV. You have a lot of methods online also how to go. But again, as homeschooling parents, these days normal parents also have to put in a lot of effort for a child to come away from the screen. You have to be actively involved to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was very insightful and very practical. The thing is that we are seeing such a huge shift from regular schooling to homeschooling. So my next question will be to Kshama, ma'am, that now parents have to be schooled, I guess, or regarding homeschooling. So could you please share some tips for the parents to help their child develop their SQ, and how to create a proper environment so that they can go for homeschooling. Now, also one more challenge is that if both the parents are working, hybrid mode, they are working in many places, and in other places, it's completely work from office. And still they want to pursue with homeschooling. Is it possible?
Yeah, wonderful question. And the question itself says it is really difficult. See, homeschooling is what I'll first talk about, like, the question you ended with, and then I'll do with, like, the SQ part. The question you ended with was, is it like, okay, if both the parents are working and the child can pursue for homeschooling? No, it's next to impossible. Here, it's a parent's role. And as right now, Aarti ma'am said, is screen time. With screen time is very much important to have a boundary line, because if you don't have a boundary line, see now after this COVID, like, all the child, the small toddler, or not even toddler, if we say the small, like, 6 months, 7 months baby, like, they have, like, that some activities going on the YouTube, and mother is busy doing her stuff and all. No, this is not right. So here, if you can spare a day for your child, at least, as Neetu ma'am said, 2 hours of studying. Even I agree with that. If 2 hours, if you give your child in a proper way, you keep your mobile aside, you keep your mobile on a silent mode, you make a specific decision, like, ये 2 घंटा मेरे बच्चे के लिए है, और उसमें I don't want any other activity or interrupt. The child will understand this from the beginning itself. And this is what the parenting is, and this is what I do with my child. Till today, my child is in grade 11. Till today, he does studies only for 2 hours, as what Neetu ma'am said. The timing is also, like, appropriate from his, like, childhood. That is 4 to 6 is his study time. Usse zyada bhi nahi, usse kam bhi nahi. So this is what you need to, at least you give a time. See, if you don't have time for your child, if you say you're going to office and you are keeping your child with a maid or with the, like, grandparents, and all the things are not going to work out. You need to match the energy level. As I said before also, if the child is toddler, you need to match the energy level with your child. After the toddler, the first phase of your schooling, like, from first to fourth grade, if you talk about, you need to make the child understand and give the perfect answer, the right appropriate answer to the child, and make him understand. See, there are different types of, like, the personality of the child. If the child is not understanding, he will go and search, he will hunt for the proper answer. And nowadays we all know Google Baba is there for everyone, and now it is not needed to type also. You just do a record, आप बोल दो वो Google को click करके, and you get the answer. But those answers are not for everyone. That is for specific person, I will say. वो चीजें हर एक के लिए similar नहीं होती हैं. So you need to understand that also. See, now if you're not giving an appropriate answer to your child, when your child is from first to fourth grade, the child will understand, chalo, mama ne to bol diya, theek hai, mama ka answer right hai, wrong hai, I don't know, I'll search in Google. So this is wrong, what your child is learning, that kind of a thing. Then if you come to grade 5, 6, 7, a stage comes where your child is entering into teenage. The things change again in a different way. As right now Neetu ma'am said, the child is 13 years, so just entered into teenage, right? My child is going to cross teenage, like he's going to become 17 next year. Aarti ma'am's children, they are little elder. See, we have all 3 phases of teenagers. So this we need to understand. The 13-year child, the 17-year child, and the 20-year child. All the child needs to have a different type of prospects, different types of parenting. So if you are ready to do those things, then it is okay. Otherwise, please, again, I will say no. If you both are working and you put your child in home, it's not a right decision what you're going to make it. And now I come to hope I have cleared those things with like, what you had asked. Is
Yes.
it okay if like, parents are working and the children are sitting at home and doing homeschooling? No. And I definitely think like, Neetu ma'am and Aarti ma'am must also be agreeing what I have told for this thing. Right, you cannot leave your child at home and you go and do your like, office work. So
Right.
this is my first thing. And now I come to your first question, that is SQ, the social quotient. So that is what the socializing. See, I agree, homeschooling is wonderful thing if you have a proper plan for your child, if you know your child in and out. See, now I know my child was very introvert, like, till he was 14, 13, 14, he was very introvert. And the moment we just shifted to some other place, and where he got like, a different environment, automatically things changed. And he became like, no, I cannot say he's extrovert, but yes, now at least like, he interacts, he knows what is the value of talking, what is leadership. This all skills you should know. And that how is your, am I audible now?
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, actually the current I lost my current, and I just switched to my data. So yes, I was at the point like, your child is what you need to understand. Is your child introvert, is your child extrovert? What is it? You need to understand that. See, introvert child is like, uh, very high on emotions many of a time. He is a very emotional child, so you need to tackle those child in a different way. A balanced emotion child, like, you can tackle in a different way. So these are the basic things which you as a mother need to know about, or you as a father need to know about. See, here in a homeschooling, I surely say that it's a major role for a mother than a father to take care about the child and to take like, major steps with the child. Until and unless like, the father has got a activity doing, like, a business or a job or anything doing right from the home or nearby home or office in a house, or like, if you have a bungalow kind of a system and the office is just extremely near to your house or something. So usually we see like, men's, they go out and there are maximum like, women who take care about all these things. So here maximum of time, like, a mother going to play the important role with the child. So mother need to understand, yes, we know हमारा बच्चा कैसा है क्या है, but we want like, कि हम हमारी चीजें उनके ऊपर थोपे नहीं. We need to understand first कि what kind of my child is, what is the personality of my child, what is the emotion of my child, what is the likes and dislikes of my child. So if you know all certain things about your child, yes, definitely you can do best in your homeschooling. And homeschooling jaisa best cheese or kuch nahi hai, where you have plenty and plenty of a time with your child to explore.
Correct.
And here I say ki definitely in a if we talk about the teenager children na, see, mother is the only one best friend to the child. If you give that level of exposure to your child, it's wonderful, it's really wonderful. See, you need to understand, you talk to your child about your things also, about your social works also. See, when you have gone to school, see, during you and me, when we were in a schooling, like, we did not have this kind of an exposure, like, homeschooling and all that such of things. But you talk about, we had done this. You teach them what is the leadership, what is like, a self-confident. So this is the important point, like, where you need to make your child understand, where the child needs to learn these things. If you are doing that wonderful job, yes, you will not have a problem. Give them the exposure of different social things. Take them to NGOs, different NGOs, give the exposure of those things. Give them the exposure of their own thoughts, like, the society thoughts. Talk with them for those certain things. See, it is not important if you're doing homeschooling, you have to take certain curriculum and talk with and go ahead with. You choose, you understand what is the best part of your child, what is the intelligence of your child, and you work on. As right now, Neetu ma'am said, the bacha is very much interested into automobiles. So now she has given the exposure. Till this, like, till 11, 12 era, you have your child, like, to give different exposures. Now she knows, like, now my child is good into this. As Aarti ma'am said, like, the child, the elder one is good into sports management, but the younger one is not interested in. As same as, like, my child, he is also more into sports. So, like, he is interested more into, like, sports management and sports psychology. So these are the two eras that he is looking himself for. So if you have a healthy discussion with your child at this stage, it is okay. But in a very early stage, if you are putting your child, please make sure that you give all social, like, environment, all social exposures, which is very much needed for a child and the growth of the child. So it is very much needed. Ki aaj, like, my mom and my dad and my family, where the children, like, they talk, they do chit chat. How ladies do chit chat, na, like that, the same thing, like, the small children also have, like, chit chat. So this is what, like, we should not stop. And this is what, if you are able to, the things are going to go really wonderful. And as we all know, this 2 years, like, we are being apart with our children 24/7 with the, like, this pandemic, what has given us. So we are always there with our children. Even this period was, like, the husbands were also at home for a longer period. So we all had a wonderful period, like, chalo, the thing was different, the aura was different, but yes, at least we had a wonderful family time. That was more important, which I say the pandemic has given us. So
Right.
this care is, like, you need to understand, you give her exposure, the things are going to be wonders. You're going to get a wonderful result. But yes, if you are not able to, please do not do experiments with your child. This is
Right.
only what I want to say. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. So we'll quickly head on to our question answer session with our panel, with our attendees here. So anyone in the participants, if you're interested to ask any question regarding homeschooling, please drop it in the chat box here. Is there any question that you would want these experts to talk about, to answer?
Meena ma'am,
Yes.
just a parting note to all the parents.
Right.
Can I start the?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
A couple of points to make your decision whether the parents want their child to be homeschooled or no.
Right.
Parents, please do make this conscious decision. First and foremost, one of the parent has to be at home with the child first. Are you able to, or are you not able? And as very correctly summed up by Neetu ma'am, is what are your expectations from the child, and what is your expectations from your own self is what you have to work upon. If the father or the mother is planning to stay put, both of them have to take a call collectively as a team to share the responsibilities. Not only the father, but also the mother in financial as well as running of the home. Both these aspects are very important, because the child is like a sponge. They will keep observing what you people are placing in front of them. If it is just the father or just the mother who's putting in the effort, it is quite visibly seen and understood by the child, because they will further say, आप तो कुछ करते नहीं हो, आजकल का जनरेशन मुंह फट हो गया है. It is very easy for them to just say as they see and this hear. So please be very consciously be aware of your discussion should be private, not in front of the child, and you both should be portrayed in front of the child as a team. Even if you are not homeschooling and putting them in a normal school, this is a mantra that you have to live by for your child. Lastly, grandparents are grandparents. They are on a grand seat. You're not supposed to make them parents again. So don't leave your responsibility to grandparents. They're there to pamper and spoil the child. You are supposed to undo that by a very sweet and loving manner. Don't take away that from your grandparents. Don't do that by saying कि नहीं वो तो spoil ही करे. उनको spoil करने दो. That is their duty to do so, and it helps the child to grow and understand what is right, what is balanced for them. Correct? Now comes the point where Kshama very nicely said, parents have to be friends. Yes, they can be friendly, but they are finally parents. Do not forget this part. You remain the responsible figure in the child's life, and hence be very, very responsible. Be friendly with your child, that the child comes and talks to you about everything and anything under the sky. Don't feel embarrassed to speak about it. Be it whatever, you will be at least aware that your child has started thinking on certain lines and you're aware of them. So please take a call that you have to prepare yourself before you prepare your child. And it is your duty that the decision making in your child life begins not with them, but with you. Decision making has to be very, very well thought of future also. Don't overthink, but think correctly. Take the decision correctly by taking in all the positives and the challenges that you're going to face as a homeschooler parent. So this is what I would definitely ask you to think before you take a call. Social quotient, as Kshama said, yes, you can make the child aware. आपका एक society का आपका एक economic level है, उसके ऊपर नीचे भी बच्चे को समझ में आना चाहिए. And NGOs are a very good way of showing them the lower standard. But at the same time, when you go to a Phoenix Mall, you can give them पहले NGO दिखाओ फिर बताओ कि Phoenix Mall में लेके जा रहा हूँ तो ये देखो यहाँ पे कैसे है. Everyone can eat and just throw things and go away. This is not possible for socially economically backward children. So this is, it has to be taught in a very casual manner, not like a lesson of life and sit down and physics, chemistry, math, whatever. It has to be very natural because the child should not be bogged down by these memories and formulate a very big scare for life itself. Sorry for the sound. So understand this. We'll take the decision. Thank you, parents, for being there for us and listening to us.
Thank you, ma'am. So you also answered in this discussion. Right now, you just answered actually. The question also was something like, we parents both are introvert, not having much of social and, and they have a 3.5-year-old daughter. So from homeschooling, how can we achieve socialization? So you just answered that right now. So I think
I'll just add a little, Veena, here, just a small liner for the parent who was saying. Yes, I had put down this, that please understand yourself before you understand your child. Why? Because if you both, as you say, are introvert and you expect your child to be an extrovert, you will have to put in that effort first. I had one parent in a school counseling session, parent teacher, they said कि हमारा बच्चा तो बोलता है इतने दिनों से आ रहा है एक भी पोएम बोल नहीं रहा है जाके गार्डन में खेलता नहीं है. I just asked the mother, what kind of a person are you? Are you an introvert? Yes, me and my husband are introverts. She was very offensive towards this part. So I'll tell you one thing, that if you are introvert, your genes have come to them. They cannot have genes coming from somewhere else. So understand this. When you are asking your child to be an extrovert, you have to put in that effort and show them the way. If you take them to a garden, you go to a new person and introduce yourself. Like, hello, I'm so-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, what is your name? So the child is observing you and they will follow you. So be the leader for them to follow you. Child will always follow the mother and the father in the initial learning and growing up stages. So understand, Abhishek, yes, how to achieve socialization for your daughter, you have to be the person leading her by the hand to do so. आप थोड़ा बात करने लगो, आप थोड़ा सोशलाइज करो विदाउट एनी कॉन्शियसनेस. आप कॉन्शियस मत होइए, जो सोचना है वो उनको सोचने दो, वो उनका काम है. आपका काम आपको क्या करना है उस पर निर्भर करता है. तो आप खुद उनको दिखाओ कि कैसा करना है, क्या करना है. and give it in small measures. एक ही time पे जाके फटाफट नहीं सारा बिरयानी हजम करना है, no. Information has to be धीरे धीरे स्मॉल मेजर्स में. जैसे बच्चा पैदा होता है उसको हम सॉलिड फूड नहीं देते हैं, लिक्विड्स देते हैं, फिर सॉलिड्स देते हैं, हल्का सेमी सॉलिड, देन सॉलिड एंड देन बिरयानी. सो give yourself also that much. At the same time, give your child also time. It takes months. That's why parenting is the most difficult profession, and it varies. It cannot one shoe fits all. nahi hota hai. So please understand that and take care of it. Thanks. Thank you, Meena.
Ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am. You have covered all the topics that we had in mind, and so
Meena, ma'am, can I add one thing?
yes, ma'am.
Yes. Parents here, see, this one, what we say, homeschooling is not a new thing or new concept for Indian culture. If we see the Gurukul system, ancient, it's in our blood. So, like, in that Gurukul also, like, where children used to learn a specific thing. Like, they used to not get all the things. Abhi har ek cheez mein har ek bacha is not going to be intelligent. So give that specific activity, give that specific thing to your child. See, there are few children who are best into their academic. They're good into physics and math. But all the child, if you say कि नहीं मेरा बच्चा डॉक्टर ही बनना चाहिए, मेरा बच्चा इंजीनियरिंग बनना चाहिए, no, this is not right. See, we need to understand this. The Gurukul system was also like, it was an open school. It was a homeschooling, right? That was a place where Guru was there. Guru was giving a shiksha to the children and all that stuff. But it was not been pressurized to all the child to do all the activities. जो वान चलाते थे वही उस चीज में इंटेलिजेंट थे, तो वही उनको ही उस चीज का आगे नॉलेज मिलता था.
Right.
So this we need to understand. And another thing, one more thing I would like to add here is always teach your children interdependent things. Don't teach always your child that you are a dependent child. You are always an interdependent. See, if mother and father are interdependent with each other, see, some things I will do, some things you can do. So teach your child that things. कुछ चीजें मैं करती हूँ as a mother, some things my husband do as a father. So अगर दोनों साथ में कर रहे हैं चीजें, तो things becomes easier. And do not hesitate to get a help, to ask for a help. See, there are many parents like, कि they think counselor के पास जाना या consultation करवाना is like, my child is in some, like, a problem. No, it's not that. Please, parents, if you're doing homeschooling, please get a proper decision, go to a proper person, take a proper decision, and then go for it. And do not think कि like, counselor के पास जाना या consultation के पास जाना या किसी भी expertise के पास जाना is like, you don't know anything. Is always important. Seek for a help. Krishna ji is also always saying the same thing in Bhagavad Gita. If you see, or if you have heard about, like, seek for a help. Until and unless if you don't ask for a help, the God is also not going to help you. So always ask for a help, and we as a mentors are always there to guide you out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. So we have shared a feedback form here. I would request all of the participants to fill in the feedback form and let us know how we can, talk more and what kind of sessions you might want more. If it is regarding homeschooling also, if you want any more webinars also, we would be happy to conduct in the near future. We have also shared our Instagram, social media handles. I would request all of you to follow it because we would be uploading all of this webinar and all, upcoming events there. And we would also be hosting more webinars in the future. There are many people here who would want to view this webinar later on. So we are uploading this video in YouTube in our channel. So please subscribe there so that you will be able to reach and get hold of that video and watch it at your leisure. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am, Shama ma'am, Aarti ma'am, and Neetu ma'am for spending this time that you shared with us, and all the insights that you gave, first-hand insights. I'm sure parents here would have got your answers, and I'm really happy to be talking to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meena, and thank you all the parents.
Thank you so much, everyone,
Thank you.
and for this
Thank you,
wonderful
Shama.
platform given by you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, everyone from SapienKid. Bye.